internet is working so well. Okay, according to that, yeah, okay, we are streaming live.
Meeting called to order for May 6th. Members present: David Wells, Danae Shelton, Jeff Allen, absent. Andy Warren, David Werman, also John Nelson. First item, the approval of minutes.
The only thing I saw was 2023 instead of 24.
We changed that. No, she hadn't changed that. But you changed that.
I hadn't even noticed it till I glanced down right now when I read them when you sent them last week. I didn't even notice. Unless you did it on
Good call out.
the
Also
agenda.
here,
The agenda that I sent you, it said.
this also says 24. It should be 24 on all those, even in the first, on the minutes.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay,
Is that the very first one?
so you good with approval based on what those?
Based on those changes.
I'm sorry?
Yes, based on those changes, I make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Visitors and commissioners.
All right.
We love having visitors.
Yeah. Wouldn't state your name, John.
My name is Dusty Smith. I'm here on behalf of Marshall County Soccer Association. So first order of business, I was going to thank you all officially for working with us to move the U12 and U14 fields across the road from Memorial Park to Doctors Park. So I believe it is fair to say that my coaches and players love it over there. So they enjoy having two fields. So my two U12 coaches aren't competing for time necessarily. This is one of them, Sheriff Muscovali. The other one's having a practice right now. His name's Justin T.
Oh.
So with that said, I would like to put the idea out there that in the future, this is probably 1 to 2 years down the road, but we would like for the city to consider installing lighting around the U12, U14 fields out here. It gets dark pretty early in the fall, stays dark. So it makes it difficult for them to have practices earlier in their spring season and later in their fall season. And that would make it easier on them. Of course, I assume it would be some sort of LED function, so it wouldn't take a lot of upkeep. I know it would be something, but also, just so you know, with the Marshall County Soccer Association, we plan to be here for as long as you all will have us. The next order of business, we bought goals this year for the U12 and U14. Our next order of business is to replace the U8 goals that are further back here. So I think that is something that we plan on doing maybe this next off season. Yeah. So we're going to continue to work with you all. We enjoy working with you all, and that's all we wanted to say. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And with the current layout, do you like that as a permanent layout?
Yes. The way they have the two U12 fields and the U14 field across, that's another thing I should have brought up. U14 will be back in the fall. That's the plan. So we will fish. About half of the kids that are out there right now, mine included, are aging out of U12. So that was a money issue that has been rectified. So paying referees and things like that. So we can now bring U14 back.
So of those two groups, between 12 and 14, which group would you prefer to go first?
You could do that.
Yeah.
The way you do it, you do it. Well, because the fields are set up, you can't put individual lighting for 12 because it runs across the U14.
Okay.
And you would separate at the midline. So you'd have to go all the way around again.
There's 3 fields
In
two,
one.
yeah, one. But
So yeah, I mean, we looked at this and the way to go. The whole thing on the lighting was, and I told them, I said, if we set this and you guys are good with it and we'll keep it this way, then that's going to go a long way for us being able to put money into lighting. And I think that, I'd love to see the lighting down there personally, but I think that we've got to make sure that this is going to stay and they're going to be comfortable with that. And if it is, then I think that we can build a lighting plan that fits all the fields at one.
Okay.
Good.
So,
Awesome.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you all for being so easily to work with. Y'all made it very nice.
You all have done the same, so.
We
Thanks a lot.
appreciate you all. Thanks so much.
So,
Y'all can stick around for the rest of the meeting if you would just love to. I know you would love to. I know, Coach. There you go.
things to do.
Good answer. Well, thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you.
They have been real good to work with this year. We started back before season, trying to figure out a way to lay in all this and bring it. And in doing that, we've actually not added, just moved one field. We actually moved one field and added two more. So, because we now have two U12s and one of 14, which we didn't have the second 12 and 14, so. Now, the 10s are the only ones that stayed down in Memorial Park. All the rest of them are over here in Dr.
Okay.
And they're using those fields a lot too. I mean, that's awesome. They have a good group on their board that are willing to work, so that's good.
Old business project updates.
Okay. The shades for the fountain, those four are in. Talked with Miracle. Their installation crew is hopefully will be here Thursday and Friday this week, but it's gonna really depend upon weather, one, and two, whether the bud gets done. Other than that, it would be probably first of next week. But we've got the four shades to go in. They're here, like I said. We also have sent the notice to proceed to Travis Construction on the restrooms. That bid came in at $271,000 and change. Well, still, that doesn't make all the final connections. What that does, it stubs out all the services, the electrical, the sewer, the water line, and we will bring the lines to that facility. So we'll have to add a lift station to it. And of course, we know that, and we're already working on that as well. But it looks like they're gonna lay it out this week.
Oh, good.
So we're gonna meet with them and lay it out this week. We still have an issue with the water leak, down here in, Doctor's Park. We cannot find it because apparently it's draining or the leak is coming out and running right straight into our sewer lines somehow because they parallel each other. So apparently it's just what they're doing is it's leaking and then going into the drain and then right straight out to the sewer because we can't find a wet spot anywhere. And you would think there'd be a geyser with the amount of water we're talking about. So we've been talking. I got a feeling we're going to wind up cutting the water line eventually and just replacing with an all new water line. Because the water line runs underneath the playground facilities, apparently, that are down there between fields 1 and 2. So we're going to run it outside of that. Mowing is going on. The fountain is running, but it will be a little bit before we get the chemicals in it, but it will be online by Memorial Day, hopefully, and maybe before. We're waiting we want to get these shades installed and make sure that our air temperature's up and doesn't fluctuate as much as it has been so that we can actually get moving and we'll proceed at that point. So maybe in the next week or so, we'll have it available for use.
I'm so glad to see it back on.
Okay, park bathroom, that's really all the project updates that I have at the moment, unless you guys have questions. If not, then we can turn to
New business.
the budget, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've got pretty much everything in there that we've got listed, okay? Just also so you know, in our department, not our capital improvement projects, but in just our departmental expenses, we've got, again, field mix, which we have every year. We've got $10,000 to enclose or finish enclosing a storage shed at Doctor's Park. striping the parking lots with fresh striping. This would include the one behind us as well. And then we got money for banners again this year. That said, in capital improvement, your number one was the restroom. The restroom is in full swing at this point. We've added another, just to be on the safe side, we put 275 back in there for the purpose of making sure that the money was there. If not completed this budget, there'll be money in there to complete it next year in the next year's budget. The second item on there was the pickleball, and we have the pickleball court. It was estimated by HDR, for the 4 courts, 142 by 88 foot area, 12 inches of dense grade, 3 inches of base, 2 inches of surface on 4 courts. And then again, we're talking lighting and all the other stuff that goes with it. Nets, posting, et cetera, et cetera. 372, 771, 60, 375. That's what we put in the budget. So just to let you know that money we put it in there for appropriation approval.
Okay.
The next item was the walking trail option. Oh, that was number 5. Okay, number 3 was the generator, and that is in there. We've got 60,000 for the Civic Center generator. This would finish up all of our city facilities with an automatic generator. The Public Works has got one. We've got one here. Water and Sewer have got one. We've even got one for the radio tower. Well, that's not a city facility that we utilize on a regular basis. Number 4 is benches and landscaping basin. We're gonna have money left over. Those are small costs on benches and stuff like that. We're not gonna put any landscaping to speak of, or especially trees, on the berm on the north end. Most of what we're gonna do, it looks like, is gonna be on the east side along the Cedar. Because we'll have to do a bridge across the inlet up there near Peach, the apartments, on the south side, and then on the west side, over by where Tim Hawkins used to live. We'd have to have another bridge there to span the overflow. So at this point, we're just looking at basically putting in some benches and some landscaping, and then maybe some dense grade or something through that area, just for to get it started and see what they want to do, if they do want to appropriate. And that may not be in our bail. It may not be in our purse. It may be in something else. Maybe we'll see how that flows, if they want to do something extra. And if need to, I've got other things that probably will be taken care of and won't need all that money. So I've got that set aside. So the walking trail, if we get the Land and Water Conservation Fund, it's at 254, 220 is the estimated cost for it. And now that's going to go that's not going to encompass all of the parks. Okay, all that's going to do is this is going to connect, and I've got this to show you guys. If I can get you all together around for just a second. I'm up here with David. I ran up here. Sorry, Jeff. That's okay. What we're looking at doing is coming off of Cedar and Railroad here, along the new road we built along the railroad tracks, connect it to the walking trail here on the north parallel of the railroad, all the way around, and back down the east side to our 5th Avenue. This would give us multi-use trail all the way from here, all the way down out. So this is estimated at $254,000 to do that. Okay. So we're going to have to budget one, and I've got some I can play with on it. I need to put 175 or 125 in there, which is 50%. So that's what we're looking at if we get it for number 5, the walking trail.
So what are we having to do to this?
This right here is paved. This will have to be, all this will have to be widened. This is already wide enough where they put the gravel
It's
road.
just gravel.
Yeah, we'll pave this and make it part of that multi-use trail. It's gonna be a 10-foot wide paving all the way down. And connect here, and then where it connects into here, we've got to widen all of this. And then resurface it
Are
all.
we gonna put, any culverts in there for drainage?
If we need it,
I think we'll
it's
put-
already been put there.
Is that already-
All of it's got culverts already.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, that wouldn't be anything. Or let me back up. If we need to extend the culvert beyond where it is, then that would be take it out and put new in. Yeah.
I just remember walking through there shortly after it opened. I saw a lot of low spots.
Okay, well, now this is gonna be the main road. This is not gonna be through the trail, okay? This is gonna be the main road. Yeah, it will not be in this.
No, that's what I'm talking about. The gravel road that's existing.
Yeah, we redid all that. We put a bunch of gravel in there. That thing's been built up enough that we call it, the Brad Darnell Memorial Highway. It's wide enough now, 2 lanes.
Oh, yeah, because we've had a golf cart.
I haven't been on it in a while.
So, but that's what we're looking at on that. We also are putting money in, just so you'll know, for paving, we're putting $100,000 in for the Doctor's Park paving. To redo the paving down in and around the ball fields. Try to pull that out, redo it, and get the drainage right with it. And then Brad's also put in another 50 to help with the paving, in Old Park.
I thought we were gonna wait until it needed to be paved to widen
What's that, Old Park?
all of this.
No, I can't get the grant for all this. It won't go that high. To do all this was almost $500,000.
Okay.
So that's the reason we're cutting it into something that we
We're
can.
gonna wait until it really needed to be repaved to widen.
Well, this is from grant, okay? So if we can get the grant, that's gonna cut it down to like I said, 125 for us and 125 the other way.
We're gonna 10 feet.
Yeah, for all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be if we can get the grant. Again, this is optional. If we don't get the grant, we're not gonna expend this money, okay?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that was always an option, just an option if we could get the grant. Matter of fact, they're coming, next week, Rachel Foley from the PAD will be here. We've got to do a resolution for the grant application.
What organization is the grant from? What?
Land and Water Conservation Fund. And it's easier because it is a trail, a hardened trail. It's easier to keep that than it is some other facilities. You may build a playground with it, but that playground's got to remain in perpetuity. You can't get rid of the playground. Say it's just like, it's correct. They're like tennis courts or tennis courts. They were done with Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Completely renovate them to pickleball. It had
That's
to
exactly
stay.
right. That's the reason I couldn't shift them over or do whatever, you can't do that. They've got to stay tennis courts. They can be overlaid and used along with that, but the tennis courts cannot leave there, basically. So I'm very leery about where you apply that because you don't want, and I didn't want to put it into the pickleball because it's too high to begin with. It's like a lot of sports. I'd rather see it in a trail or amenities than to see it on an actual court. We'll see how that works out. So that would, and if you want to, David, I've got a layout of what they're talking about to do that area.
Okay.
So you're welcome to look at that as well from HDR. So that basically has our, that's our budget items for this year. And then a little bit. And so, that's where we're headed down the road to. So, and I did want them to get you all thinking about the lighting, because I think we finally have a plan and layout that they can live with
Mhm.
on a more permanent basis. And that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Because if it's not gonna be a permanent basis, then there's no reason to put the money into the lights.
And that's good to hear that they love it, you know, how it's.
Exactly.
So John, the total will be $275 for the Travis, the restrooms, $375 for pickleball, 60 for civic center generator, and then half of the 250.
125
Half
there.
of the 250.
And then we're looking at another 150,000 in paving. And then you're looking at the other end of the spectrum, just the other smaller projects. You're looking at somewhere around 26, 30, something close, 28.5. So there's a lot of money flowing into the park system in town. So if they approve it all, I can't say that they won't.
Now, usually you kind of give us a heads up with other big projects, capital projects in the city, if this will even kind of be
Change, yeah.
Well,
doable.
I can go over that with you if you're looking at, we're looking at equipment, a lot of equipment purchases. We've got a lot of, vehicles, both the fire, police, public works are all looking at at least one new vehicle.
Mhm.
Public works is looking at several items. They're looking at, some construction equipment to the tune of 225,000. We've got grants, wayfinding, that's 200,000. In the other building, we're looking at a hangar, working on towards a hangar. Public Works, another equipment shed for them. Some work at City Hall, plus the bathrooms, that's 615,000. We're well over 2 million this year, almost 2.8 million, I believe it is, in capital projects. 160,000 in vehicles, 60,000 on generator, 400,000. Shark Hill Road, if we decide to go that route, 225,000 construction equipment. Annual paving, this is iffy because it looks like they may be, I've got 450,000 on here, but I think that, probably 220 of that's gonna come off. I think it's gonna wind up being about 230,000. For paving 250, which is our standard.
Mhm.
We've got to finish, 10th Avenue that they're working on right now. And then, but I expect to have West Second and Gilbertsville Highway completed because they're supposed to start paving in the next week or so. Hopefully have it completed by this year, so I won't be carrying it over. And then all the land improvements, which is all the ones we were talking about, pickleball, walking trail, Veterans Memorial, the TAP fund match, electronic signage for City Hall, fire training center, prop improvements, and then paving at the park. That's 1,115,000. So we're somewhere around 2.8. So yeah,
Wow.
we'll take a chunk. If we do all these projects, we won't clean our capital improvements out, but we will take the biggest chunk out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it'll slow down. And if we were able to get them all done on top of that, then you would take slow down projects in the future for a little bit. So we
Right.
can build that fund back up.
And Doctor's Park bathroom, that was in this year's budget, but we don't think it's gonna.
I don't know if they're gonna get it completed in time to actually take it all out of this one.
Right.
So that means that I'm gonna carry over that much money for the next year's budget just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
So whatever they do and they bill us for, of course, we can pay part of that out of this year's budget, and then the rest of it would come out of next year's budget.
Okay.
But I'll need to make sure that money is appropriated in there.
Mhm.
And they have approved that project, so that's a done deal. Like I said, we sent them the notice to proceed, and like one of the reps will be here this week to lay it out. So.
Do you think we keep all this? It's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, that's what council decided.
That's what they get decided.
That's-
Prioritize
yeah,
it,
they-
cut it. Don't want it, cut it out.
So where are we as far as Christmas decorations? Because I know we talked a lot about that.
We haven't done
Yeah,
anything with it
we
yet.
said we're waiting until he gets here and he has a plan.
Well, the whole thing is that we need to set a committee together that can study this thing. We're not gonna go, you're not gonna rush into this thing, because what you're looking at doing is spending a chunk of change. And I'm talking about, you're gonna cut out a lot of lot of projects to do this other. And to do that, you need to have an overall plan and an overall game plan that you spent some time working on, not just something you did last night. So I think that's something that you'll need to sit down, maybe do some studying on research on your own. I'll see if I can come up with some stuff. Let's look at one of the things we need to look at is what's your overall thoughts on how this should be? Is this going to be cartoonish? Is it going to be themed? Is it going to be elegant? What is it going to be?
I did
You know.
some research kind of on,
There you
some
are.
of this stuff
Yeah.
here. And I
You
kind of
look-
ran some by Blair, and she kind of had some ideas too, but again, it's.
You look
it's
at
a lot.
it, and it's, to me, I'm going like, we've got cartoon already in two parks.
Mhm.
So let's do something different. Let's stand out. Because if you look at it, you can go to Miller Park and you can go to Noble Park and you can get all the cartoon you want. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a lot of similarities in the two. Let's do something that makes us unique. We are.
See, this is more like a winter wonderland, like, I'm thinking like New York. I've
Yeah.
been to New York, but it's not silly looking, you know what I mean? Like that's even
It's elegant.
a sleigh that you can sit in for pictures, but it's lit up. I mean, this stuff is very expensive.
You can
but-
get, I would look at the top, when you look at
Mhm.
those, and they've even got some that are pretty much gold ornaments, but you look at it and it's all the way down. It's all as far as you can see. The whole thing is encompassed
Mhm.
and looks like it's, all one design.
Mhm.
That's what we need,
Yeah.
something like that.
I think
Bob did a great job getting us started. He spent a lot of his personal time and finances trying to put some of this stuff together to save the city money. And a lot of that, and I don't want to take any of that away from him.
No.
I mean, if nothing else, I still think we need to utilize it, maybe utilize it in different park areas.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to have one, but if you've ever been to Bowling Green, and I know I use Bowling Green all the time, but I've got a special attraction there, you understand? You do too. You've been down to Fountain Square. Fountain Square in Christmas is absolutely stunning,
Mhm.
and it's all white light,
Mhm.
all white light, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And when they light that, they take that tree, and when they light it up,
Mhm.
you feel it. It's really, really nice. And then they do some of the fancier lights and stuff like that down at Circus Square, which is a walk from it. I mean, you could
Mhm.
walk, you could put the older decorations up here,
Right.
and then down at at Memorial Park, put the new stuff,
Mhm.
and you can have a walking trail that goes from one end to one side to the other. I mean,
Mhm.
there's so many things that you could do with that,
Right.
and just take a look at it and do a whole different mindset.
Mhm.
It's a memorial fountain with a fountain,
Mhm.
and you've got all this other stuff. Who's to say we don't change the lights to just white at the fountain?
Yeah.
During that time period to match everything else.
Yeah.
I like the colored lights, but you can do white lights one place and colored lights another,
Mhm.
and it really looks good.
I agree.
So yeah, I think we just need to sit down at some point when we don't have a lot going on and just do some research on it. See what we like. Allison would be glad to do some research on it.
I can tell. No, I mean, it's very expensive, which we knew it was gonna be.
Yeah.
You kind of warned me about that, but I mean, it would be stuff that obviously is not just disposable, we would use that for a long time.
But if we do if we have an overall plan and we do in a big enough order, then that's up when we get our discounts,
Mhm.
hopefully get our discounts.
Right. Like I said, Blair, I talked to Blair, and she's at least had similar thoughts, so she wanted us to sit down.
I'd like to
sometime.
bring Bob in because I'd like for Bob to be able to look at, he can tell me what amperage we've got, what we can handle.
Mhm.
Of course, if you're going with LED, it's not going to be that much easier.
Yeah.
But he can tell me what we can and we can't handle. So. That's really all I have, ladies and gentlemen, at this point. I hope that was
So, when is the budget meeting? Is it next week for sure?
It's the 16th, next Thursday. 5:30.
Yeah.
Again, can you,
Kansas City,
I think you do that to me every year.
I'm in Kansas City next week,
Kansas City.
our conference.
Oh, okay.
I had a feeling it was gonna fall on that time.
Well, we're going to the beach the next week, so I was so afraid they weren't gonna push it back in.
Yeah, last 2 years, in absent.
Well, the next week I've got to go to Memphis because I'll be in Memphis for a graduation. My niece's graduation.
So the next meeting, you just. Change.
No. No, thank you. No, you do a fine job.
All right, that's all in there. Unless, again, like I said, unless you have something else.
Things in my phone, but
I'll get a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:01 PM.
How about that?